Hey guys, how's it going? Editor Clark here. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of context because I originally made this video yesterday with an intent to post it, but because of the leaks and because of some opinions that I've heard about what the leaks can do, not only to content creators, but to the design team as well, I decided to hold on to it until the patch note has been officially released, which it now is available, and I can now confirm that all of the nerfs that you're going to be seeing in this video are 100% true. But I encourage you to check out the patch notes if you guys want some more information. It also contains some more Battlegrounds updates, which was really the main theme of this week, and probably the reason why the nerfs were delayed until this week, along with some other internal issues. But please enjoy this video. It does have all the correct nerfs. It still has my relevant opinions about what's going to happen if these cards are changed, but just know that I was speaking in light of these being unsure, but they are 100% confirmed. Hope you guys enjoy the new takedown of the new metas. I hope you guys enjoy the new. I hope you guys I hope you guys enjoy the new I hope you guys enjoy the new nerfs of Alterac Valley, and we'll see you for the next video. So let's go ahead and jump into the nerfs, because a lot of you are probably going to be happy to know that Mage has been taken down a peg, not only in Wild, but in Standard as well. I don't even know if Incanter's Flow needed to go to 4 mana, but I'm happy seeing this card at 4 mana because Mozaki Mage just sets up so many non-games to the point where, again, I've had a turn 5 lethal with 70 damage because of Mozaki Mage, so I'm happy that this card is being essentially deleted. And hopefully it'll be reverted when it goes into Wild, but I wouldn't keep your hopes up for that. But to be honest, the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Twin Spell card are the two biggest impact nerfs that you're seeing on this list right now, because now I think Ignite cheaters don't have a deck to play anymore. I think that Ignite Mage is so difficult that you're not going to see it at top legend anymore, and no matter how quickly this deck is able to draw out its cards, it's not going to be able to assemble its combo because Sorcerer's Apprentice is still a hefty price to pay when you're essentially doubling the mana of these cards. These two cards in Wild got their mana cost doubled, and I've already seen somebody complaining, oh my god, this isn't enough to stop the Hunter quest. Yes, it is. It is definitely good enough to stop it, because now you're not playing 2 spells for 2 mana. You're playing 2 spells for 4 mana. That's a big difference in Wild when ones literally rule everything. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about Pirate Warrior nerfs, because that card also got nerfed, but I think its nerf is not nearly as impactful as this one, because the Twin Spell was the biggest issue with the card. You literally got to complete one aspect of the quest for not only 2 mana, but for 1 card. That is absolutely broken. You can tell that I hate Questline Hunter, can't you? Because I absolutely hated this card in that deck, and hopefully Questline Hunter is going to be taken down a peg. But the biggest news here is the fact that Sorcerer's Apprentice going to 4 is going to completely kill the Ignite deck, I feel like. At least in top legend. It's still going to be a deck. I think it's going to be really difficult to play. Maybe there's like a new optimal version of this deck. I'm not good enough with Ignite Mage because I haven't played it enough or messed around with the list enough in order to tell you if maybe the fire cards can still work out with this combo if you're able to play that card that draws a card every single time you play a fire spell. I think that has some potential possibility. Notice how my question is in the air because I don't play the deck all too often. But the biggest deal is that the fact that cheaters can't use this card anymore. And I find it kind of sad this is the way that we had to nerf Sorcerer's Apprentice, is because of Wild cheaters. But this is a nerf that's been kind of it's been delayed for so long. Like, it's kind of been something that we've needed for a long time. And it's interesting to note that the card text hasn't changed. So you're still going to be able to do the Exodia combo if you were to set this up, but it's a lot more difficult. So I think I like this change a little bit more than making it completely unplayable to the point where you can't even play the Antonidas Exodia combo anymore. So I think Sorcerer's Apprentice has finally been knocked down a peg to where people aren't going to be that upset that it's not the exact nerf that they wanted. And one more touch up on Incanter's Flow. I hate this card. Like, there might be some Mozaki fans that are pretty sad, but this card didn't really see that much play in Wild because Spell Mage isn't exactly the greatest. It was a playable card, but I don't think it was the reason why Mage was winning. It might have helped out, but I think this card just caused a lot more problems in Standard and a lot more problems in Standard than it did in Wild, so that's the reason why this card had to be nerfed. But Incanter's Flow is probably going to get nerfed back to 3 when it goes into Wild. So that is my first guess on these nerfs. And there's actually another nerf very similar on the next slide that I feel like could happen just like Incanter's Flow. And for those of you wondering, where are the Quest Pirate Warrior nerfs? Well, here it is. The questline for Warrior is actually getting nerfed, although let me contextualize this a little bit because I don't read Russian and I'm not 100% sure on what this is saying, but from my sources, it looks like the second stage of the Quest Warrior is going to be nerfed, so that way you have to play 3 pirates instead of 2 in order to deal 2 damage split twice. And I don't know why the infographic is only showing the first stage. And for those of you who are wondering, where are the Quest Pirate Warrior nerfs? Well, here it is. The quest line is getting nerfed, although I might have to contextualize it here because I don't speak Russian, and even if I did, I think there's a difference with how they're presenting the nerf here. Because I believe what's going on is that the second stage of the quest, where you have to summon 2 pirates in order to get 2 damage split twice, is now going to be 3 pirates, and if you think about it, that almost stops the Rokara turn by 1 whole turn, depending on when this happens. And I think if you have coin, and if you draw all the 1 mana pirates, I think now you have to hit like this perfect curve in order to hit the Rokara as soon as possible. But Wild has a lot of 1 mana pirates, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about this, and if you think that this nerf is not as impactful. But I'm just gonna stick with this opinion because this is what I woke up to, and this was my first thought when I saw the card. If Rokara literally gets pegged an entire turn, that opens up the field a lot in Wild. Like 1 whole turn for a lot of decks is literally that threshold they were missing against Pirate Warrior, to where it's not even about winning the game before the Rokara comes down, it's forcing your opponent to play the Rokara when they don't have the most optimal situation, where maybe they want to remove, maybe they want to play a minion and you know, set up some kind of value before they just throw Rokara and essentially pass the turn back over to you. I really feel like it can add a lot of dynamics to Wild, so that way this deck can be countered, because the biggest issue is that it felt like you were just playing Rokara on turn 5 almost every single time for no drawback. But now if turn 6, turn 7 happens, that's a little bit more of an investment that you have to make. Again, I haven't been playing a lot of Wild because these decks literally drove me out of the format, so if I'm just a stupid boomer who doesn't know what he's talking about, call me a stupid boomer down in the comments. I don't care. I'll start a conversation with you. I'll probably lose, but it's fine. I think that Quest Warrior is probably one of those decks that really needs to be hammered. It really needs to have its win rate spiked downward because it's just so oppressive at the top levels, and against newer players, it's just a dreadful experience to be aggroed down so quickly by a deck that literally feels like it's bombarding you, like it's Pirates. Come on, it should feel like that. But regardless, the player feeling around Pirate Warrior absolutely need to be changed. So let's talk about some of these other cards now, because Pirate Warrior has already stolen the light of some of these other nerfs that are happening. Not going to talk too much about the Cloak of Shadows because I didn't want this nerf to happen. If you want my honest opinion, this is going to be similar to Incanter's Flow, where they're probably going to revert it back when these cards rotate into Wild. So unfortunately, the Cloak of Shadows combo with Scabbs is going to be a lot more difficult, which probably is good for the health of standard for the next 3 months, but I don't know, dude. I don't like seeing unnecessary cards getting nerfed. That's just my philosophy, and I really am not a fan of the fact that this card might get reverted when it gets changed into Wild, because literally there's like, I think, 1 Wild deck that I've seen since Alterac Valley that has come out that uses 1 copy of this. So it's not like it's breaking the meta in Wild, but in Standard, it need to be toned down a peg, so I'm not that unhappy to see it on the list. However, one thing I am happy to see is Rokara got a buff. Rokara got an armor buff, and one thing that I want to point out with this is that Captain Galvangar just suddenly got a little bit more support, so maybe we can find like some kind of like mid-range tempo warrior that is all about just going face and sometimes gaining armor with some passive effects while they're doing their main proactive game plan of actually just storming face and dealing these large amounts of damage out of nowhere. But something else that's also pretty cool to think about is that this is really good for Control Warrior. You gain 10 armor for 7 mana, and you have the potential of gaining even more armor out of your hero power, but the honorable kill does kind of make it a little bit difficult, so it's probably not the greatest for Control Warrior. But I don't know, dude, this 10 armor buff is interesting because no other class is getting it. This is the second warrior hero card that now gains more armor just to fit in with its class identity. And I don't know, I feel like this might be a way of pushing up Rokara in the playable in the played win rate, because this card has just seen absolutely no play except for like one Control Warrior deck that I think the Viper and Yarla were playing. Like, this card just needed some support. The weapon I thought would have been game breaking to a degree for Warrior, or at least for like Tempo Warrior. But with the armor effect, maybe now with the Galvangar combo, it's got a chance. Maybe now if you just need to survive a little bit longer, it has that turn, because you do need to invest a little bit of life in order to get your your reward proc. But I don't know. I feel like this buff isn't going to matter in the long run. Maybe it's better down the line. But at least Rokara is a little bit better, and they're actively trying to make these cards playable versus just being like, we'll wait until the next expansion. And now for the last part of the nerfs, some of you are probably asking, where is Scabbs? Scabbs is broken. Scabbs needs a nerf. Same thing with Wildpaw Gnoll. These cards are so busted to where I can't enjoy standard anymore. We hit the Poison Rogue. What about the Thief Rogue? Thief Rogue got hit too. The Scabbs to 8 mana, I feel like everybody could have predicted. Even I predicted this in my video covering about what I think the nerfs might be. But this was something that was absolutely expected. Scabbs is absolutely a busted card, and the fact that you have a Vanish for 1 more mana that gives you a busted hero power and 2 4/2s and free initiation onto the board, yeah, that needed to be toned back a little bit. So now Scabbs being 8 mana is going to prevent that coin turn 6 that everybody hates, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't think there's much to talk about with the Scabbs. But with the Gnoll, I'm kind of sad to see this card nerfed the way that it is. But I mean, it's not that bad of a nerf now that I'm saying it out loud and I'm really focusing on it. Because the biggest problem with this card is that it felt like a turn 2 Yeti that could develop into your opponent's board. Case in point, I feel like this nerf is really going to slow it down against the Face Hunter matchup, to where Face Hunter is going to have a legitimate way of beating Rogue now. It's probably going to be super favored for the Face Hunter. But Wildpaw Gnoll being a 4-attack minion, I guess it needed to happen just so that way it doesn't automatically trade into minions that you buff with a Doggy Biscuit, for example. You just automatically deny so much tempo with having a turn 1, sometimes 4 or 5 trade into a minion. And obviously this happened very commonly on turn 2 and turn 3 in order to completely stop your opponent's early game. But the biggest issue with Rogue right now, that's been best described by Fino, is that its early game is amazing with the Gnolls, which he doesn't really think should change. The Gnolls are a good aspect of the game, and even Brian Kibler backs me up on this. So it's not just me saying this. If anything, I think Guild Trader would have been the card I would have liked to have seen nerfed. Maybe bump that up to like 5 mana or something like that. It probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but Guild Trader is the card I have not been happy with playing against and playing with. But aside from that, Fino said that the issue with Gnolls and with Thief Rogue decks in general, or with any Rogue deck on the ladder right now that's winning, is that its early game is way too good because of the Gnolls. Its mid game is good because of the random generation and the fact that Rogue is good at removing tempo. And then its late game is just utterly unstoppable because you have the Edwin combo if you're playing Thief Rogue. You have the big minions that you can find off of the scam cards, things of a One Thief and yada yada yada. But then when you look at Poison Rogue, it's literally the perfect deck to where find the weapon, cloak up, then do nothing, then kill your opponent when you have the Scabbs and you have the combo set up. Like, literally, early game locked, mid game locked, late game locked. Now there's going to be some point of disruption that's available for all the rest of the classes, to where Rogue is not just going to have this insane setup anymore. Now if they want to do the double Cloak combo, they have to do it on turn 6, turn 7, and then play Scabbs on 8. That completely slows down this combo to where it could have been. Because, like, it used to be on turn 4 even, you could play the Cloak. Turn 4, Cloak. Turn 5, Cloak into coin. Scabbs on 6. That is gone. That is gone. That is no longer going to be a threat. Weapon Rogue is probably going to be hit hard by all of these nerfs, because if you think about it, 3 of their cards got nerfed: the Cloak, the Gnoll, and the Scabbs. So there's a lot of scams that have been toned back from Rogue. But I still do believe that Thief Rogue is going to be an amazing deck regardless of this Gnoll nerf. Like, 6 mana makes it a little bit harder to where you don't get the turn 2 payoff as frequently, but you still have combos with like Swindle and whatnot to where you can get this out really cheap by like turn 3. I think it can be possible on turn 2, but I'm gonna go ahead and be safe and say turn 3 is probably the earliest you're gonna see this minion throw down on the field. The 3/5 really does make a difference, because as you've seen, for example, like Oracle Valoon. Oracle Valoon is a 4-attack minion. Not being able to kill that, really big deal. Like, 4 is a really massive threshold, and you're gonna notice time and time again what this card can't trade into. And something else that's kind of funny is that Gnoll into Gnoll now just leaves it up at 2 HP to where the hero power doesn't clear it. So there might be some people that'll be like, oh, I got nerfed in that aspect. We can't kill the Gnoll now because the Gnoll isn't good enough to kill the Gnoll with just a hero power. But anyway, those are the nerfs. I think that overall these are all pretty decent. So just to go over them quickly, which ones am I happy about? Happy, extremely happy. Probably didn't need to happen, but it's probably gonna happen. It probably needed to happen for these next couple of months. Definitely needed to happen. Completely left field, didn't expect this. completely expected, and then kind of sad that it happened, but it needed to happen. So all of these nerfs make sense. All of them, I feel like, are targeting the right classes that need to be hit right now. It's just about whether or not these nerfs do their jobs. But overall, I really do believe that these nerfs did do the job that they were supposed to. And if these are the legitimate nerfs, I'm gonna be pretty happy come the 25th. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video of the leaked nerfs. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel in order to be notified about any other future uploads we have to come out with. And let's discuss some of these nerfs, man. I would absolutely love to talk about what I think might be good with these nerfs, because obviously after I post this video, I'm gonna have a lot more time to think about it, and we can reflect in the comments, because this nerf is still not happening for like another 6 days. So keep that in mind whenever you're getting a high roll against Rogue, and if you're just now seeing this, is that we still got a couple of days before this actually rolls over. And again, like, with how legitimate these screenshots look, I think this is going to be pretty real. I don't think these are going to be changed at all. I think these are the changes that they wanted to release last week, but then something they got bought by Microsoft. So it probably pushed back their planning just a little bit. So that's why we had to wait this other week. But I'm overall really happy with these nerfs. Feel free to let me know what you guys think below in the comments. We'll have a conversation about whether or not it's still going to be Roguestone, and we'll see you for the next video.